Hey, good afternoon. So under the camera, you see a photograph taken from the internet showing Japan's Koinobori. These are very strong koi or carp and represented as kites here, flown on Children's Day. And the carp is a very powerful swimmer, a very strong fish, and it's the family's wish that their children be likewise very strong and very perseverant. The koi don't give up. They keep on climbing over the rocks, jumping up the waterfalls, and making their way up the stream or up the river, all right? And that's what the Japanese hope for their children. Good, strong children that persevere. So you're going to create a koinobori picture where one koi fish fits into the other. And I'm going to show you how I got started on this in a moment. I'm not yet finished with this picture. You see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more koi to draw. But even though it looks complicated, it's not that bad. Let me get a fresh, clean piece of paper and show you. So what I'm going to do is use an S curve, and there's the letter S right there, okay? I'm going to stretch that out. I might turn the paper this way, and I might draw the S this way. Now that's a backwards S, isn't it? The way I drew it. But now the S can go forwards, and now it can go backwards again. So I'm drawing a series of S curves, and you can see how when portions of the S's come together, that forms the tail of each fish. See, there and there and there and there. And then, of course, the wider part of the fish is down here. So back and forth, alternating the way I draw the S, okay? And if I turn it up this way, you might be able to recognize how the fish are then going to develop out of these shapes. You're going to be covering the entire surface of your paper with koinobori. You're not going to have any empty space at all. You can see how jam-packed they are, almost like the tiles on a floor, packed together like the tiles, okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead. I don't have to do this in marker, but I think marker is going to show up better for you under the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to a different drawing tool. I'm going to head and switch to a marker. And I may start with the large mouth of this fish right here, okay? And the mouths of the fish kites are large in order to catch the wind, okay? And then that blows the kite open like a windsock, and it gives movement and form to the fish as it blows in the breeze. So I might do that. And because I do have a marker and I like to do line work, I might go ahead and gently add some line work inside of the mouth there. Now I'm going to go along the back and I'm going to add a fin, a back fin. And then I'll finish up with the tail, okay? I might even add some small lines within that back fin. That's called a dorsal fin because it's on the back. Your back is your dorsal surface, okay? Here I'm going to go ahead and add eyes. And you can see on the koinobori how the eyes are very complex with lots and lots of concentric circles. One circle inside of another, inside of another. I don't think we have to make our eyes that complicated, but I'm going to add the eyeball of my fish there, okay? Maybe like that. And then I'm going to add some gill slits. Now the gill slits here are pretty complex, coming down and swooping forward towards the mouth. I guess I could do that. I could do this, just like the kite, and I can repeat that line for emphasis, just like on the kite. But you don't have to. We'll draw the gill slits differently here in a moment to make it easier. And then I'm going to do some stylized scales. They could look like these right here, okay? We can use the actual kites for our guide. So I'm going to make a series of lines that bump out, a bit like drawing the letter M. I'm going to stop for a moment and add a pectoral fin here. I forgot there needed to be a side fin right there, okay? So let me finish with my pattern of scales. Almost done here with this first fish. I'm going to take my time with the scales so I do them right. Okay, so there are my scales. And then I'll finish with some lines in the tail. So that's one of the fish right there. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do here is create that dark outline for the bottom so I can create another fish. Okay? Now, I kind of left off the dorsal fin of this fish, but that's okay. We can live without it. There's another fish up here. And so you're getting the idea that we're going to crowd this space with fish. There's the large mouth. Again, you don't have to use marker. You can do this in pencil. There's a portion of one eye. It's a very big eye. We can see just a little bit of it hanging down. This is a gill slit that's very simple. I did 2 of them right there, okay? Maybe I'll make some bubbles coming out of his mouth. You can do that. Like he's breathing underwater, okay? And then maybe I'll do a different pattern for the scales, a zigzag pattern, okay? And of course, I take the scales back into the section that narrows back here. And then at some point, I make the tail, okay? So you can see how one Koinobori fits into the other. Remember on this one down, I don't have a dorsal fin. I kind of forgot and left it off. That's okay. It's okay to leave something off like that. I might start with the eye, maybe do a slightly different eye this time. Remember, a smaller shape inside of a larger shape gives a little more interest, a little more emphasis. Here's the mouth of the fish. Maybe I'll make I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit of a dorsal fin here for this fish down here. So there's that dorsal fin sticking up in front of this fish. Let's not forget the pectoral fin on this one. Pectoral muscles are on your side, okay? Upper chest up here. And let's go with the pattern on this one. You know what this pattern is going to be? This is going to be a simple pattern, but you got to do it carefully. A series of diamonds, a series of crisscrossing lines. So there's some angled lines leaning one direction. I put a gill slit right there. And then I'm going to make a series of lines coming back the other direction. So this is a different way. Now, if you want to repeat the same scales on each and every one, that's fine. But if you have the opportunity to do things a little different and build in a little more variety so the viewer is not quite as bored, you can. So you can see I'm well on my way to finishing this up. You can on each one if you want to. Find the eye, find the pectoral fin, have some sense of where the mouth is going to be. You don't have to finish the eye, you don't have to finish the pectoral fin, you don't have to add the scales yet. You can come down here. Remember, this fish below needs its own dorsal fin, so I'm going to put a dorsal fin down there, sticking up. Here's the tail on this one, and so it goes. One right after the other, right after the other, okay? Well, don't forget the gill slits. Dorsal fin of this one. Let's make this one look angry. Mouth on this one. A little different from the others. Open up the mouth so the wind can get in there and blow up the kite, make it big and strong. Pectoral fin on this one. There's the dorsal fin on that one. I'm just going to do stripes on this one. Now the nice part, if you do marker on your final, remember you don't have to do marker on your concept. The nice part about doing marker on your final like this, you're going to be using oil pastels, and the marker shows up really clearly through the oil pastel, okay? So you don't actually have to worry about carefully placing the color so much. You just color right over the details, okay? So you see where I'm going with this. I still have this one to finish, and a portion of this one. If it helps you, go ahead and establish some of your major features, the eye, the mouth, the pectoral fin, the gill slits, however you want to draw them. You can look up pictures of Koinobori if you want to and use that as your reference, as your source, or you can do a little bit of each, that plus whatever you imagine your fish might look like. Okay? Now, you try.